U.S. President Trump has just announced his intentions to pull U.S. troops out of Syria within the next 6 months. And now a video of victims of an apparent Syrian chemical attack has gone viral. With Turkey, Russia, and Iran all working together with the Assad regime, many are now wondering what the response would and should be. And more importantly, whether or not Russia and Iran are complicit in these attacks. Joining us now is Dr. Nir Boms, the research fellow at the Moshe Dayan Center of Tel Aviv University. Thank you for joining us. So how many chemical attacks have occurred in Syria? Can you break that down for us?
It's actually difficult to count. This year, I have seen reports of over 7 different chemical attacks, and we have seen a good number of these reports since the beginning, and certainly since the very big one in August of 2013, where over 1,500 people were killed.
Now, Russia is the main background supplier of the Assad regime, so is Russia at fault here? What would you say?
Well, President Trump just gave a statement where he accused Russians and Iranians being the backers of the Assad regime, and in many ways they're responsible and accountable for what the military is doing, because they are the ones who are controlling big parts of this military. They're the ones who are supplying this military, and they're the one who's supposed to know what this military is doing and responsible for its conduct. So accusing Russia is not completely out of the cards. Although it seems that this has been another action of the Syrian army. And this is something that first and foremost the Syrian army will have to be liable to.
Well, let's also talk about the appearance of these chemical weapons in the first place and how the government was able to get their hands on this. What is the explanation there?
Well, they were using barrel bombs, and these barrel bomb techniques is something that they have been using against, just to stress, against civilian populations. There are over 5,000 people who were reported, dead from this latest wave in Ghouta, which is where Duma is a part of this Eastern Ghouta area, and this is the last bastions of Jaish al-Islam, the rebels who have been fighting the Syrian regime. Of course, the Syrians wanted to clear all these rebels, and for them, anyone who would join them, whether they're civilian or not, they're all rebels, and they're liable for attacks. And they would use these barrel bombs. And it seems that in some cases, because this is what had happened in the past, these bombs were also enriched by other components and some chemical components to make them perhaps appear or to make them more efficient. And in the latest case, yesterday, a helicopter seems to have been carrying from the Damir base a barrel bomb with chemical weapon, with sarin, that was the main instigator of this particular attack. Well,
I mean, I think it's going to be interesting to see how the international community responds to this, and also specifically Israel. Is Israel going to do anything? Do you think we're going to see any type of response from Israel?
The international community will debate. It's a Sunday. We've only begun to hear the responses, and we've heard, by the way, a number of responses just in the last few weeks, saying that if we'll see another attack, we will respond. The other piece is just the piece that you've mentioned, the U.S.-Russian dynamic. If the U.S. needs to make a statement, then perhaps it will feel compelled to respond. First, because it said it will. That's a red line. And President Trump was speaking about the red line in the scent of President Obama. He was the one who responded to another chemical attack last year by bombing the airport and a number of other installations from which these weapons and helicopters had departed from. So there is a chance that the U.S. will respond. As for Israel, Israel is not going to respond to this attack. But Israel is now looking at the fact that a number of Syrian forces are approaching the south. A lot of the forces that have been involved in the Ghouta attacks, 40% of the Syrian military has been involved there. They received orders to basically march down south, march to Dara, and then to the Israeli border. This puts Israel in a very significant dilemma.
Absolutely. Well, I mean, I think just seeing this video was so shocking, and Israel has been obviously helping a lot of Syrian refugees on the border, so it's going to be interesting to see if Israel is going to be involved any further with providing medical attention too. But that's for our next interview, because unfortunately we've run out of time. Thank you for joining us.